Hello and welcome to the Midgar Press. My name is Jay. So, before we actually get into the opening scene, a little bit of bookkeeping. I need you all to check the description below. Two things are in there. One is my Patreon. Go check it out. Who knows? You may wish to sign up for it. And then the second one is a new thing I'm doing. Uh, it is a it's called Ko-Fi. I don't know, but it allows you to request, you can tip me and you can get custom things, spells, magic items, um monsters, you know, things. Um Let me see what I got here. We've got bardic inspirations, monsters, become an NPC, magic weapon, spell, magic item. So get one of those and we'll make it happen. But back to what you all are here for, the opening scene. So again, the opening scene is kind of like the first adventure that you can put your players through because it's essentially like how your players get into the Misty Vale. Like now you could portray like the start of a campaign because that's what this is, like the start of a campaign. You could portray the setting to be where your players are already in the town of Outskirt and then they begin. I like to start it from the opening scene and go that way because it just adds more suspense. Uh, just because it also gives you, the I guess the initiative to start looking for the statuette pieces. So it says the Drakemar Pass is a narrow passage through the Coomer Mountains. Its ancient but still discernible road makes it an important route for adventurers, settlers, and others seeking their fortune in the Misty Vales or Misty Vale. However, the influx of travelers have also attracted brigands and the occasional beast to the mountain pass, which it's true. Like if you have, sorry, I'm adjusting myself in my seat. If you have people traveling through an area a lot more frequently, that would only make it a lot more attractive, like it said, to brigands and other mountain beasts. Like if you have a manticore, for example, if it knows that there's going to be more people traveling through, then it could eat more often. If brigands know about this, then obviously more people to steal from. So the situation is Dragal Weatherman, one of Koth's human servants, has been looking for the Dragon Emperor statuette for some time and carries a map to facilitate the search. A few days before the start of the adventure, he made his first find, the pedestal of the legendary artifact found in the abandoned mine beneath the Coomer Mountains. But Weatherman's happiness was short-lived. On the way to Outskirt Village and Lorana, he was spotted by goblins patrolling the area. The goblins know nothing about Umdurman, but have orders from the chieftain Maladuk to keep an eye out for a precious relic split into four smaller pieces. They have been told that this relic is sought by many, both living and undead, and so the bundle Weatherman was hauling around caught their attention. Weatherman managed to flee the initial confrontation, but was badly wounded by a poisoned arrow. The player characters find him on the verge of death, and he sees in them his last chance to bring the relic to Lorana. But the goblins are drawing closer. Just as Weatherman hands over the mysterious bundle, the first arrow comes whizzing through the air. So on to the Misty Vale. When the adventure begins, the player characters have been traveling for days through the high and rugged Coomer Mountains trying to find a way down to the Misty Vale. Begin the session by reading or acting out the text below. The ancient and narrow pass runs through the mountains like an axe gash. Steep, moss-covered slopes rise in the snow-laden peaks that can occasionally be glimpsed through the veils of clouds. Somewhere ahead lies the Misty Vale, the legendary place where the empires of old stored their wealth and magical artifacts. It is the rumor of these treasures that has brought you here, the vast riches and arcane secrets hidden among the ruins on the other side of the mountains. And you are not the first to be lured by such temptations. Since the orcs started leaving the area about a decade ago, a growing stream of settlers and adventurers have made their way to the Misty Vale. But you know the way is treacherous and fraught with peril. The imperial roads have crumbled and the mountains are teeming with danger. The Drakenmar Pass, where you now find yourself, is particularly infamous. The dwarves of the Coomer Mountains have warned that the humans' return has attracted brigands and ravenous beasts to the area. Your fears come true when you suddenly hear a discerning whimper. You see a figure lying in the middle of the rocky trail, only 20 or so meters ahead of you. The figure is wearing a simple gray robe, but clutching a dark bundle at his chest. As the whimper turns into a rattling wheeze, you realize the person is gravely wounded. Dun dun dun. And then it goes into the actual scenario. So this is the map of Drakenmar Pass. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. A north, south, east, west. The black arrow in Master Weatherman. Weatherman is found at point number 1 on the map. If the player characters move closer, they see his pale, panic-stricken face and notice that on one of his thighs is pierced by a thick black arrow. If they examine the wound, it takes no skill to roll to conclude that the arrow is poisoned. Purple-blue streaks branch out from the wound and can also be seen on Weatherman's face. Suddenly, he sits up straight, hands his bundle to the player character with the highest charisma, staring wildly at them and saying in a breathy, fading voice, "Quick! Take it. Lorana will understand. Message from Master Weatherman. Must find all 4 pieces. The secret of the Dragon Emperor." Now, of course, as you portray that sound and voice, go ahead and throw some coughs in there. You got to make it sound legit. The ambush. The next moment, the Goblin Scouts attack from points number 2 and number 3. So this is where Weatherman is right here. So point 2, point 3. They fire their short bows before charging at the adventurers with their melee weapons raised. If the players are actively looking around, each can make an awareness roll to notice the attack in time and then draw an initiative as usual. All those who fail go to the bottom of the card or get the bottom cards, counting from number 10 and up. Randomly drawn, all Goblin Scouts act on the same turn. And then there's a little mention about the Warg Rider. The second round is when the Goblin's Warg Riding Commander attacks. Having previously been hidden behind Boulder at number 4, his attack is surprising, and he automatically gets the initiative card number 1. So it goes into the Scouts and the Warg Rider. We've already talked about the Scouts and the Warg Rider in the bestiary breakdown that we've done. So I'm not going into those right now. There's no need. Go back, watch the videos, or you can just pause it right here and read them. So it says the end of combat. The goblins flee when the warg rider dies. The fight is supposed to be an introduction to the combat rules of Dragonbane. Such things go badly for the player characters. Jory or Hardy from Outskirt can come to their rescue, which we'll get to the NPCs when we get to Outskirt. The map and the statuette. Weatherman draws his final breath before the player characters can ask further questions. The bundle turns out to contain two remarkable objects: a map and a piece of a black statuette. The map shows the Misty Vale and is included in this box. Handed to the players now. Note that the four pieces of the statuette are depicted in the corners of the map. The statuette piece is a pedestal, lower legs, and the bottom part of the sword, likely from the basalt statuette of a humanoid warrior. And then it says clues. If the players notice the statuette pieces on the map, you can confirm that they look like pieces just like the one that's in the lower left of the map. The characters have now also heard the names Weatherman and Lorana, as well as a cryptic reference to the secret of the Dragon Emperor. By searching the dead man, they can also find the black symbol of Sothmog branded on Weatherman's left forearm. They can follow up with these leads later. The example by asking among the guests of the Three Stags Inn at Outskirt. So Three Stags is like the tavern / inn within Outskirt. But that's it. That is the opening scene. It's just 3 pages. Now, these 3 pages could take like an hour and a half of actual playtime. It depends on how much you want to role play the, letting your player characters kind of get to know each other as they happen to be walking through the Coomer Mountain or the Drakemart Pass together. You could also role play out a little bit with the Weatherman dying, but then you've got the Goblin ambush, and depending on how the dice rolls go, it could take a while or it could be very quick. So it really shouldn't take too much time for them to, get everything completed and move on out of the Drakemart Pass. They may take a stretch rest. They should not encounter that much damage or opposition that would require a shift rest. But who knows? The dice giveth and the dice taketh. That's just how it goes. So yeah, thank you for watching if you've continued this far. Comment down below. Have you already ran your players through the opening scene? Did you opt to skip it, or what did you think of it if you ran it? And then, of course, share this video. So until next time, my friends, live on and game on.